Welcome to Wayne TV. I'm Carol Bowden, Director of Public Affairs and Clerk to the Board of the Wayne County Board of Commissioners. And this morning I have the Chairman to the Board of Commissioners, Bill Pate, with me. Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Carol.
And I know it should be ladies first, but I want this to sink in. We've got a lot of bipartisanship going on right now, and we really want to hit home with that. I have Miss Shirley Edwards with us this morning. Good morning, Shirley.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm just doing great.
Well, fantastic. Now, you're with Wages, is that correct?
That's one of the boards I'm with. I'm the Public Library Board. I chair that, and on and on.
You do a lot for Wayne County.
She's like me. You just can't say no, can you?
Can't say no. You know, I thought of something that the scripture was coming to me this morning. Do not get weary in good works. And today is a good work, so I'm here.
Wonderful. Well, and we rarely talk about actual political parties, but you're with the Democratic Party.
I am.
You're with the Republican Party.
I am.
The importance of that today is we've come together to talk about the sales use tax option that's on the November 6th ballot. And the reason that we are bringing up the bipartisanship is oftentimes straight down that political aisle, we get a little divisive on issues, particularly when it comes to raising taxes. We're not raising taxes. What we're trying to do is make it fair for everybody so that what happens with our capital funding or our capital spending with public education here in Wayne County is taken on by everybody versus maybe just 1/3 of the population, which happens to be our property owners. Bill, I'd like for you to share with our viewers right now how we got to this point and why this is so important.
When I came on the board in 2012, our property tax rate was 0.7025, and we had a real healthy fund balance there, but it wasn't making any money. Mm-hmm. I mean, the interest rates were just nothing.
Right.
So we felt it would be better to spend some of that fund balance down and make it work for us. An example, we used cash money to pay for the jail, which was costing, we were losing $1 million a year sending inmates out of the county, and now we're making $1 million a year bringing them in. That's an example. We also invested better than $90 million in construction of schools. We got Meadow Lane going up now. We built Spring Creek. We built Grantham. There's classrooms to be built in the northern end of the county, classrooms and gym in the southern end of the county. But we have spent a fair amount of money, and now we're at a point that we don't want to spend our surplus down anymore. When I say surplus, a fund balance that's unrestricted.
Right.
And what I meant to say too a while ago, we also, when we came in, we changed the tax rate and dropped to 2.6665. And over a period of 5 years, going on 6, that has put better than $12 to $13 million back into the pocket of our property tax owners. And we're at a time now that we have not fulfilled all the needs of our public education system, not only the schools, but the community college, which we're also responsible for. Mm-hmm. And we have some projects that are planned, but we've got to have a revenue stream to be able to pay for these things, and that's why we are here today. We discussed very passionately among ourselves and a lot of our constituents as to whether we would raise property taxes. But we just did not feel it was the right time to do that. And as it turned out, now we've had a hurricane, we certainly don't want to do that because our agribusiness industry, which is our largest industry, has been hammered. And we just don't feel like we can do it.
And I want to go back to one of my opening statements that basically 1/3 of the citizens are property tax owners. You have a lot of people that rent. Mm-hmm. You have a lot of people that maybe they're only here temporarily. So when you put the burden on the property tax owners, that's a heavy burden. And as you said, agribusiness, that's huge. Farmers can't sustain that right now.
No, they certainly can't. We're going to lose some farms this year too, without a doubt. So we just can't do that.
And with our aging population, when you look at raising property tax, they worked all their life for that home, and then their income is fixed, and we're talking about raising their property tax. And that, when you think about it, is really not fair to our citizens, like the farmers and our seniors who've given their life to Wayne County. We should not continue to place burdens upon them. If there is, and this really isn't a burden, I don't even want us to use the term burden, because what we have today before us, this tax is not a burden. There's no way anybody can conceivably see it as a burden. 1/2 of a penny, 1/2 of a cent. We're at 6.5%. Another half of that is 6 3/4. I ask people all the time, I said, when you get, do they cut your pennies in half and give them back to you? No. So it's just conceivable that this is one of the things that will solve a problem for us, and yet everybody gets to participate. We're talking about this is Wayne County pride.
I like to explain it to everybody. It's 25 cents per $100.
Right.
I mean, a quarter. Come on. And
Exactly.
it's not just our citizens that pay. If you're traveling through Wayne County
Right.
and you stop and buy something, those people are also helping pay.
Right.
So I think that's the fairest way to go, and not put the burden again, like I say, just on the property owners.
And it does not apply to groceries. It does not apply to medicine. It does not apply to gas purchases. So we're not talking about the things that you must have to live. You're talking about options. You go out and buy a new TV that costs $200, you're going to pay 50 cents towards the education of our children here in Wayne
Right.
County. That's really
Right.
simple.
And yet we expect it to raise more than $2 million a year. And that is really needed by our school system.
Exactly.
We just witnessed just in the past few weeks the state looking at taking over one of our elementary schools. And when I said this the other day, we have become a training ground for other counties for their teachers. And as soon as we get a new teacher in and get them trained and where they're really starting to be protective and moving these kids along, they're going across the county line in Johnson County as an example, because the supplements are so much higher than what we can afford here.
Right. And people also need to understand that there are certain things that come from the federal level, state level, local. Local's responsibility is building the buildings for public education,
That's
whether
right.
it is Wayne County Public Schools or Wayne Community College. And that's a huge burden. And I like your word, it's not really a burden, but when you look at what you are responsible for from the Board of Commissioners standpoint, it can feel that way when you know what needs are there, and the needs are still great.
Yeah, and before we came on camera, Shirley was talking a while ago about the kids, and I'd really like her words if you kind of repeat what you were saying earlier.
I'm not sure exactly, we talk so much, but
Yeah.
the thing about it is that, this is our way of saying to the children of Wayne County that we're committed to you. This is our way of saying to the teachers and to the whole educational system that we're committed to you, and we want you to have decent buildings. We don't want our children, and we've had buildings in this county where the children, there was water when it rained would run in the side of them, and some of them, the infrastructure is old. This is not what we want our children to believe that education is about. If we want them to pride education as we want them to, and families to pride education, and families to want to come to Wayne County and participate in our educational system, then we must make it acceptable. We must make it superior. And the infrastructure is one of the first steps to making that happen.
For a successful economy, from economic viewpoint, when companies make decisions of where they're going to relocate their companies and their jobs, they always look at human capital first. You've got to have an educated and well-trained workforce, or they're not going to come. And such things as we talked about a while ago with elementary school, that's not a good thing for us at all. We've got to overcome those kind of things.
We've talked a lot about the why and the what. Now let's talk about the problem. And Shirley, this is where I want you to weigh in for a moment. This has become an issue on the ballot because in addition to the seats that are up for re-election this November 6th, there are also some constitutional amendments that have been placed on the ballot. And right after that comes this local sales tax option, and it's confusing a lot of people. And there are actually teachers who are misunderstanding that that's not part of the amendments. And so there are people that are not marking yes.
What
or
is
supporting
happening,
yes.
there is the drive, and I'm not part of it one way or the other, but I'm not a yay or nay. The way I vote is personal. But there is signs up, there is meetings being held against the constitutional amendments, and that's personal. That's not the issue here. How it becomes the issue here is because of the location of where those constitutional amendments are, and at the very bottom of it is this Wayne County local option sales tax. And many people, when they've been drummed into their head, don't support the constitutional amendments. They are then going straight down the line saying against, against, against. And they're not stopping to really read that the last one is not a constitutional amendment. And it is confusing to people. And I've had not only some teachers to tell me that, and I know that they didn't because based on the statements they made to me, but many seniors, and I've been going around talking to our seniors and explaining that to them. That's not a constitutional amendment. That is for the tax for the children. And you can continue to give, even as a senior, back to the children of Wayne County. And many of them are saying, I'm sorry that I did not take the time. But, you know, when people are told things, they don't really, they go in, and there many times they have these preconceived ideas when they go to vote. And that has affected this, and that's what I am very frightened of, that some may have voted against it and not purposely, and I know they didn't intend to. And with the few days we have left, I am asking the citizens of Wayne County, please vote yes for this 1/4 cents tax. Please vote to support our children, that they may have decent facilities to be educated in, that they can take pride in their facilities. And you as citizens can take pride that you've been part of making that happen. Because I know there's nobody out there that don't want our children to have the very best education, the very best facilities, and the very best environment. And all of this ties into the kind of environment, the kind of feeling that the children have about this educational unit, the teachers' morale. I just cannot believe that the citizens of Wayne County are not supportive of this effort if they fully understand the need and the importance of it. And that's why we're here today talking about this.
Absolutely. And
Well said.
Bill, do you want to add anything to that?
I don't know what else I could say. I really appreciate Shirley bringing it to my attention. I mean, I already understood, so I checked my ballot. I knew what I was going to vote
Exactly.
for. But she's right, and I brought it to Joe Dollar's attention too, and he says, "Wow, I hadn't even thought about that." And so we've been trying to educate the voters as well.
Exactly, and it is proving to be confusing. But the bottom line is, how you choose to vote is up to you. But we want to make certain that you're educated, and this local option sales tax is not part of the amendment. So,
That's right.
Is there anything else that we can add at this point?
Please go to vote, and please vote for the local sales tax option for the children, because that's what it's for. It's for the children of Wayne County.
And I already have.
And I have already have done that too.
Well, Shirley Edwards, thank you so much for being here with us today. And Chairman Pate, as always, I enjoy sitting down talking with you. If you receive this at home, this gives you the answers to the questions that we just went over. And it's all about home, Wayne County. This is the home of our children, and this local option sales tax can make home a better place for everybody. So get out and vote. Thank you.